Welcome to Jiva Media, where stories awaken and voices become legacy. Podcast with Ashita Shekhar.
So when you look at Vidya Bharati's model, where education values discipline and community participation, everything coming together, what philosophy drives this approach, and how can others contribute to this mission?
See, it began as a exercise which was in
Mhm.
response to the quality of education India had.
Okay.
So Indian education was British created the infrastructure for the inherited education system. What we had before British, that was kind of a ramshackle. It was
Mhm.
not really available in a way that new middle class, new lower middle class will go there. So people were not going there. They were going to government schools, mission schools. So Nehru decided to have lots of schools, and we suddenly have a lot of schools, and there was a structure. All these schools had buildings and teachers. Things were done. Uh, but Vidya Bharati recognized that the job is much bigger. And in
Mhm.
1952, somebody decided to create one school where values were important. So biggest with
Mhm.
values. So for instance, they began with Saraswati Vandana. They didn't want to forget everything. They realized that
Mhm.
mission school, when you go to, they start with some prayer of Jesus Christ, Ishu Mera Charva in Hindi, in every language they
Mhm.
created. So this is mission schools. They said we should have our culture. Their response was to we are forgetting our own culture because British gave the school where we learn nothing about us. Whatever
Right.
is taught to us is through their eyes, and we have to find our eyes. That's how it began. But think of it this way: in 73 years, they created some 15,000 schools, which means every year 200 schools on an average, which means every week you're looking at 4 schools. This is what
Mhm.
they created. And then there are about almost equal number of informal schools. These are formal
Mhm.
schools which are no different except the lower quality of buildings like the US.
Yeah.
Area will be similar, not very different, but the quality will be there's huge difference in quality, like everything else. But the structure is there. So there were the 15,000 such schools. Now they educate 3.5 million children in India. As
Mhm.
of today, India has 250 million students. 3.5 million are educated at Vidya Bharati, which is about almost 1.3%. So about in 1,013 students go to Vidya Bharati. But when you look at the board results, 50% of the top 10 students in every state, more or less, they are from Vidya Bharati. So I
Mhm.
would say, in a matter of understanding, they pick up 1% of students and take them to 50% of the board, top 10 achievers. And when you look at this year with the Bharati schools,
Mhm.
about 1% of students, they pass out as well. In the civil services exam, about
Mhm.
2,000 people clear it every year. They are the people who run India. So there are IAS and IPS and IFS and various other allied services. About 2,000 people are picked up every year from the population of every year. About you're looking at 25 million children pass out of the school
Mhm.
system to go to the college,
Mhm.
but only a
Mhm.
fraction goes to the college. And of that, a few million who go there, who about 1.5 or 2 million pass out, they all appear in examinations, and only 2,000 get selected. So the intake is 1 in 10,000. In that, Vidya Bharati achieved out of the 2,000 something like 70 students. So which is again, outperforming the ratios or proportions they dealt with. So they're doing something which is very interesting,
Mhm.
something right. And more important is this: teachers take interest in students. Teachers will
Mhm.
go to students' home at 10 o'clock at night. Is he studying well? Is she studying well? They will ask the
Right.
parents. And this is what teacher does as a matter of routine. So they arise
Yeah.
this. And they are not people who leave schools. They remain at the school for their entire lifetime.
Mm.
Sometimes they get transferred from this school to that school. So there are many things which I think we should try to study, or some large
Mhm.
organizations try to study. How does this totally networked organization, which is not
Mm.
centralized, where all these institutions are independent entities, there are 15,000 of them. I mean, I'm saying 150,000 teachers, 15,000 students, schools, and 3.5 million.
Mm.
Now they have 2 universities as well. So they are
Mm.
expanding at a scale which is not easy to even get to. head wrapped around easily.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of things they're doing. And everything, the land is donated by somebody locally.
Mm-hmm.
The building is rented by some business person who names it after some dear one they have lost, parents, siblings, children, whatever, etc. And the expenses, operational expenses, are met by students' parents. And if there is a shortage, some donations, etc., come in for that. And they raise money for raising the bar. So, for instance, my contribution, I adopted 27 schools. And my
Mm-hmm.
contribution was to give every child a tablet. I said, I will not contribute to creating
Mm-hmm.
buildings. I made every class 600 classroom, so they are smart classrooms. So I created that possibility for them to have 600 smart classrooms or 27,000 students each with tablet and so on and so forth. So, it's a 5-year project. Some are already completed, some are in the process of completing, but that's the journey I took. And the result is like a couple of these kids who topped American examinations. So the children who have been touched by this will not be the same again. They will learn differently. They will be different kinds of citizens. So that's the whole idea. And so that's what I did. So Vidya Bharati is I would say, given what India can afford, Vidya Bharati does an exceptional job of keeping the culture within curriculum the way it is. What it
Mm-hmm.
cannot do without infusion of new, you can say, capital or new
Yeah.
resources, to create children who will be leading in science, in thinking, so they can compete with what they see. They can't
Mm-hmm.
compete with what they don't see. And India needs to
Yeah.
get into that space. So what I was trying to do is help them see what they're not allowed to see, they're not given to see. But society resist it. Nonetheless, I mean, some resist and some go along with you. So we are looking for
Mm-hmm.
those who can go along with us. So I would say my dream will be if every family, Indian family in America, the
Mm-hmm.
diaspora, they choose one village or one school or one class. I think then we can contribute something which India as a nation or a government hasn't managed to contribute. And things will happen at the level that our future generation won't be running 6 generations behind. They
Mm-hmm.
probably will be much closer to the global, you can say, expectations and capabilities and skills and thinking. So that be a dream if that happens. So if every single family, I mean, how much we're talking about? You can just take a class instead of
Mm-hmm.
the whole school. Whole school, you're looking $500 per student. That's what
Yeah.
the requirement is over and above whatever they do. In
Mm-hmm.
$500, we can have a student in India uh, learning at the comparable level as what America achieves at about $15,000. That's where Vidya
Wow.
Bharati is today.
What if one evening could help change the future of a child, a school, even a village? On Sunday, July 12th, you are invited to an extraordinary evening at the Boston Marriott, Burlington, the Vidya Bharati Gala 2026. Come discover one of the world's largest volunteer driven education movements, serving millions of children across India, and learn how the Indian diaspora can play a transformative role in shaping the next generation. We are honored to welcome renowned entrepreneur and philanthropist Desh Deshpande as our distinguished guest for an inspiring conversation about education, innovation, and nation building. Whether you're passionate about education, giving back, or creating lasting impact, this is an evening you won't want to miss. Reserve your seat today. To know more or join us, visit Vidya Bharati Gala 2026 www.vbne.org or call 508-3336-543.
But what I find beautiful in that reflection is the idea that beneath every system or institution initiative, there's always human stories, people,
Yes.
aspiration, dreams, and lives being shaped. And that same belief seems to run through your work in education. That meaningful change is not just about building systems, but about creating opportunities for individuals and communities. And that brings us to another important expression of this mission, the Vidya Bharati Foundation of America annual gala. So I know this year's gala brings together leaders from technology, education, entrepreneurship, healthcare, and philanthropy. What does this gathering represent, and why is collaboration across different fields essential for the future of education?
Well, you see, we can't really have a full plate everywhere, but we have to try to find what what is the
Yeah.
most interesting part. So this year, I requested Ramesh Raskar. To give you a
Yeah.
sense, Ramesh Raskar, not many people know about him.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
something with the vision, something with the eyes, and so on. So, and he's
Yeah.
trying to create answers for the world, for the poorest, and affordable answers at that. So I'm not going in technical terms because he's using very long expressions for what he's doing. But what he's doing is he's using artificial intelligence to
Mm.
aid the vision and the possibilities of helping those who have challenges. But more than that, if you look at since
Mm.
1947, in 80 years, if you're going to ask a question, tell me the 10 members of Indian diaspora of Indian origin who have contributed the most in the field of innovation and something. Raskar will be one of the top 5, 6, 7.
Mm.
He was given a Levinson MIT Prize, which is almost like America's Nobel Prize. Yeah, he came 20 years back to do PhD. You can imagine. So why is it interesting for me? That they've become
Mm.
entrepreneurs, they've become corporate executives, but not many Indians have become creators of knowledge for the future. Some have become, and but not many. He's one of those
Mm.
who is visible. He's not a man of science. He's a man of
Yeah.
technology. He's not thinking
Mm.
about how the science, how to explore and unravel science. He's looking at
Okay.
what is available, how to turn that into something which is useful. And at that level, he has basically done. If you look at even ask a question, who are among the top innovators in America? Forget
Mm.
about India. His name will be among the top 10, 15. So that's the
Mm.
kind of person Ramesh Raskar is. Then I looked at Devarshi, who's in the world of finance. He's a chaired professor at Brandeis, and he is doing a few things. He began India Initiative. So in other words, he's here. He's fully involved in being an American, but he thought of India Initiative. So in other words, he thinks of that as well. So that's
Mm.
how he came along. And then we requested one younger, Pooja Aika, who created Eternal Health. I've known her father Ravi, who became quite a significant, successful. I think his company sold for several $billion. So
Mm.
Pooja Aika, and like that. And then there's somebody who is doing something for how to help uh, NGOs be funded through charity, and he's trying to do something, and he's trying to do something with Vidya Bharati, Chitra Niyogi, I
Mm.
brought him, and like that. Some people came together. So they all need some aspects of the larger ecosystem that Vidya Bharati needs to look at. And so,
Right.
you bring them who's inspiring, who's going to bring new ideas, who
Mm.
is going to bring something which has been tried and tested, and we haven't tried, and talks about that. So it's an opportunity to share some new thoughts as well, right?
Mm. I think
But
this is such an important point because what stand out is that the future of education cannot be shaped by one sector, one institution, or one way of thinking alone. It requires coming together of ideas, expertise, and experiences from across different fields. And I think this is exactly what makes this year's Vidya Bharati's Foundation of America Gala so meaningful, because it brings together leaders who represent different dimensions of this future. You have innovation and entrepreneurship through leaders like Deshpande, and then, of
exactly.
course, research and artificial intelligence through Professor Ramesh Raskar, and business and
The
philanthropy
Bharati
through, yeah, through Rajendra Khetan and Pooja
yes,
Iga, and the
yeah,
academic perspective through Professor Devarshi Nandi. But
yeah.
each of the leaders, they bring a unique lens, but they're united by a common purpose, creating better opportunities for the next generation through education.